So yeah, I heard this ISC wasn't the greatest. So yeah, we'll have to see how this one is. It sounded like a game dev one, which is never exciting for me personally, but I know a lot of people do like these. So yeah, ISC tools time. Tools are something that backers have heard about for a very long time. And honestly, I don't know about you guys, but I'm kind of tired of hearing about them. So, inside Star Citizen, here we go. That's not Tim the Tool Man Taylor there.
We talk a lot in ISC about what developers are making for you, the Star Citizen community. But what you may not know is that in any large games development, there's usually a small team dedicated to making things strictly for the developers themselves. Tools development is at the very heart of what makes game development possible, and why each year is often more productive than the last. When building the never before built, it's often impossible to know exactly what you're going to need when you start. But as time goes on, developers begin to discover all the bottlenecks. The processes that, while necessary, can often devastatingly impede their momentum. And perhaps most commonly, processes that work fine for us.
Like for the last year, tools have like actually devastatingly impeded Star Citizen's development. It's always been like we're making tools, and it seems like that was always what people needed, and they couldn't get their work done because they didn't have them. Even back in the day, they would just make one side of the ship, and then they would mirror it to the other.
Small
I remember
game,
that was a tool,
but don't always scale with a project as
the
massive as
Vandal
Star
ships.
Citizen. So we thought we'd take this week's show and dedicate it to some of the true heroes gamers never see behind the curtain, and enter the world of tools programmers. Up first, let's go to Montreal and meet some of the team there and learn a little about their most recent effort, the Mighty Bridge.
This is just a curtain I don't want to look behind personally. But
the tool team might be the most important team of a production.
In our team, the focus is to develop tools for artists, designers, and technical artists.
The scale in Star Citizen is insane, so we can't ask for artists and designer to make all the game fully by hand.
Technically.
Yeah, which is what Chris asked them to do, essentially, which is crazy. So, yeah, these guys are, like they said it, probably the most important people. So, absolutely respect what they're doing. I just personally care way more about like the gameplay and things like that. So I just don't get excited for these things, but I know a lot of people do.
We're more on the procedural side, but our tools team is also geared for our Montreal office.
The main idea is if there is a need, if there is a problem, or if there's anything that could be made any faster or more simpler for a user, then a tools programmer can go in and make their life easier.
I am the most important part of the most important team,
We all know the most important team
As
is the
Star
ship
Citizen is evolving,
team.
we add more and more features over time. So that means that we need to be able to set up and place new type of data, and so you need new tools for that.
We need to automatize a big part of the job to move further and faster.
Obviously, there is a lot to do because the world we try to create is huge. And what we tend to do as technical artists is trying to make the link between the developers and the artists themselves, because the artists are the ones, or the level designers are the ones that tend to use the tools, while the programmers tend to answer their needs.
One recent example of a tool we developed is the Mighty Bridge.
What is the Mighty Bridge?
Mighty Bridge is a plugin for the game editor that link the game editor to any other software.
Right now, the main usage is to be able to work in Houdini and have some effects directly in Editor.
With the Mighty Bridge, the communication is done in two-way direction. It can send information and ask stuff to Houdini, for example, and Houdini, while doing the computation, is able to say, okay, you want to place a cave here? give me all the objects in this 50 meters radius so that I can adapt the recipe and then send back the result. And with other technology, you don't have that two-way communication. So it's also help us doing more complex recipe and adapt the content to the game level.
Yeah, this does seem impressive.
The reason why the Mighty Bridge is important
I wonder if
is,
other game engines have
there's
this
a lot
already
of,
or something.
technical resources and knowledge in all kinds
doubt
of amazing tools, like, as I mentioned before, Houdini. And by providing a way that artists can interact with the editor from the tools that they know and love. And
here's what I think, dude. Legitimately, if the game doesn't work out, CIG possibly, I don't know if this is how game dev or software development works, but they could possibly just be like shift and become a company that makes tools for game editors or whatever. Like it's quite wild what they've been capable of doing over the last 10 years from that standpoint, but it hasn't translated into a video game yet, so who knows? Maybe they have like a division that ends up doing things like this and makes money for them that way.
learned to use over many, many years, they can make more easily the stuff that they want.
Because this is wild.
There's no time in between of like thinking about the logistics of everything. It just like does it
I know
for
that might
you.
freak
We
you
made the
out,
Mighty
but
Bridge
it's...
thinking about the future, so that if we want to use other technology, we can plug them into the editor using it. And
Something
for
that
example, if we
popped in
want
my
to use
head.
Blender or 3ds Max or Maya or Substance Designer, for example, that we are using, but if we want to plug them into the editor, we could use Mighty Bridge to do that.
In-house software doesn't usually turn enterprise? Okay. Yeah, see, I don't know this
Tools
stuff.
programming is
something that popped in my
core
head.
to whoever interacts with anything to make content.
I've been working in the industry for 15 years. I
Nice.
never found a project that has such ambitions. And I feel like this game tends to always say there is a goal and we will do whatever it takes to reach that goal.
Oh, we'll sell
Mighty
whatever it
Bridge is
takes
just
to reach
one of
that
the
goal.
ways tools programmers work to improve the workflow of all developers, allowing for an unprecedented two-way communication between independently developed softwares that were never intended to speak to one another, shaving the downtime and removing the need for import and exports all over the place. But that's not where this week's Tools Time story ends, for we're about to go big with a tool that
Ooh,
we've
Jared
been
had to
dreaming
say it,
about
tool time.
internally since 2019. A way to test our game and infrastructure at the scales we need while leaving developers free to continue developing. Let's meet the Cloud Test Launcher.
Oh, nice.
I remember there were tests in the company where people asked, can we get as many developers to join to see if servers
Yeah.
work? Well, we can do this way, but we have
I
limited number of developers.
Legitimately think this is like one of the reasons why Evo might exist and why their like Friday play sessions exist is just to make sure things work. If they can get past that step and the play sessions are more focused on how things play and feedback on like this isn't fun, that is fun, then there's a lot less testing that's done by us and more stuff done internally, which would be awesome.
Even if there is quite large number of them, if you take into consideration how many players there will be in Star Citizen, you will quickly find out that we need to have some way to emulate those users.
Nice, the CIG bunker mission session. That looks cool.
The idea was created like 4 years ago. The first iteration was that you can go to the developer machines, install the software, and one person could simulate that traffic using those machines. Then came the next iteration of this idea, where we wanted to move that to the actual cloud. Right now, Cloud Test Launcher allows us to create machines on the fly when we need them, launch multiple clients on those machines, and simulate actual traffic. It actually launches a Star Citizen client, connects to the servers, and creates a very realistic testing scenario.
Oh,
because
wow,
you can
ship_move.
say that there is network traffic, you can say that those players, even if they are emulated, they are actually doing something in Star Citizen just like a normal connected client would.
Very cool.
So this is quite a big deal.
I remember this was something
As you know,
that...
we are going to introduce server meshing, and to be able to do
What was that game that
we need to have
kinda died?
reliable testing methods.
They had so many
And
clients in
CloudTest
one
Launcher
server.
is one of those methods. For example, say that a client should go into a ship and fly somewhere, maybe through a jump point,
Whoa.
which would involve switching servers and so on.
Dual
For
universe,
us,
yeah,
in
dual
near
universe.
future, that will be a very valuable tool to perform testing.
Dude, the ships are flying. Not
Of
well,
course,
but they're
CloudTest
flying.
Launcher is not a single-person project. Many people helped in development. I would like to shout out to Martin Senior, which is my team lead, who developed early versions of the CloudTest Launcher. Also to Jaffa, who helped us in testing phase. Also Ahmed and Scott, who helped us with the network part and cloud part of the
this, all the
development of the
shout-outs,
CloudTest
dude.
Launcher. Without them, this would not be possible.
That's really cool,
So what did we
actually.
learn this
I'm
week?
glad I watched
Well,
this.
we learned that Mighty Bridge allows our developers to use the right tool for the job, wherever that tool may come from, and to do so without having to leave the game editor. That CloudTest Launcher will free up our developers in QA from tedious load balance testing and allow them time to focus on new features and fixes, respectively. And that at ISC, we're going to continue exploring every aspect of game development before our time here is done. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. We'll see you all next week.
Jared's talking to me there at the end. He's like, I know you don't like it, but I'm going to do it anyway. And that's okay. I get it. Again, a lot of people do like that stuff. And in the end, I thought that was really cool. And that's something that we really, really, really need. Because, again, I know that QA and like the Friday tests and things like that are something that, yeah, they're like, hey, they used to be like, guys, we need to get as many developers in as we can to load the servers up. And yeah, they would. I think that was like the idea behind Evocati originally, was like, hey, we need these people in earlier, but we don't really want to show them the build at that time, so let's put them under NDA and everything. Well, awesome. That was ISC. Tomorrow's SCL looks exciting as well from a technical standpoint. We'll see what kind of information they share with the Gen 12 and graphics engineering and kind of stuff like that. So, all right. Thanks for watching. That was fun.